Hey Sam, Curtis here. I hope this is recording. Yeah, it looks like it is. We are just reviewing our chords, the 5 chords from the song Centuries. And these 5 chords, as I mentioned yesterday in our lesson time, man, if you can grab hold of these, you are going to be sailing with so many different songs. And I want to go over just some of the chord transitions from one chord to the next. So that's the first one that we're going to do. We're going to do this E minor chord, which is built with our 2 and 1 fingers, 2 and 1, on the 2nd frets of the 5th and 4th strings. So there's our E minor chord. And then we transition to a G chord, which moves our number 2 finger up and over to the 3rd fret of the top string. And our bottom 2 our 3 and 4 fingers are on the same fret on the bottom 2 strings. So here's our E going to the G. And I want you to practice just making that transition as many times in a row as you can in 1 minute. So use a timer on your phone, on your iPad, on whatever, and just go back and forth. Or you can go totally analog and find one of those little sand timers from like some old board game that your parents have in a closet somewhere, and you can use that too, you know, if you prefer to go totally analog and not digital. Anyway, E minor to a G, E minor to a G. Now here's another transition, and this one's probably the easiest of all of them, going from the G chord to the C chord. All we're really doing in this chord is we've already got our 3 and 4 fingers down on the bottom 2 strings on the 3rd fret. We're moving our number 2 finger from the top string to the 5th string. And we're getting our thumb involved in muting that top string. But that's all it is, just going back and forth from that top string to the 5th string. Okay, so that's our next transition that we're working on. Okay, and just do that as many times as you can in 1 minute, and challenge yourself every day and try and get that transition number higher. So if you're able to do 12, you know, in 1 minute, then try and shoot for 15, shoot for 20. Our next transition, this is a trickier one. This is the one that goes from our C chord to an A minor chord. Okay, so these 2 fingers, your 2 and 3 fingers, on the A minor chord, they are on the 4th and 3rd string. And what they do is they both kind of separate and move 1 string further apart from each other. So they start here on the 3rd and 4th string. They separate, move farther apart from each other. Now they're on the 2nd and 5th string. There's our C chord. Here's our A minor chord. And by the way, on our A minor chord, our number 1 finger gets involved on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. So A minor, C. And again, do that. That's going to be a tricky one. And work at it and get your fingers used to that motion. As we mentioned in our lesson time, muscle memory is like hugely important in playing guitar. And once your fingers get used to the motion, oh my gosh, you can just do it all day long, and you don't have to look. It just becomes really, really easy. Obviously, that's going to take a little while to get there. So take 5 minutes every day and work through these exercises. Transition, C chord, get your fingers into the right place. And if one of the notes doesn't sound right, you got to check your fretting fingers and make sure they're fretting nice and close to the front of the fret, not too far back and not too soft. Got to make sure they're fretting firm enough. C chord, A minor. Okay? Now here's another transition. We're going to go from the A minor to a D chord. Okay? An A minor to a D chord. This is a tricky transition. The finger that I tend to lead with is my number 3 finger, which starts on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and it moves to the 3rd fret, 2nd string, and then your 1 and 2 fingers just sort of surround it above and below on the previous fret, on fret 2. So A minor, move those fingers, get them in place. D chord, move them back, get them in place. A minor chord, move them forward again, get them in place. D chord. And by the way, our thumb is involved the whole time with these 2 chords, muting that top string. So there's the A minor, transition to the D chord. And again, this will be tricky at first, but as you get used to it, you won't even need to look at your fingers. It'll just become second nature. But obviously that'll take some time. Final transition is going from this D chord back to our original E minor chord, which I guess it doesn't really matter what fingers you use. I would like you to use your number 2 finger on the 5th string. You can either use your number 3 finger below it or your number 1 finger below it. So here's our D chord transitioning up to the E minor chord. Again, D chord, we transition up to that E minor chord. And be listening. Strum each string individually if you need to make sure that you can hear them nice and clear, because if they don't sound clear, you got to make some adjustments. Okay? E minor to D. And when you put that all together, you'll be able to do that Century song, which starts with the E minor for 4 beats, then G for 4 beats, then C, then to the A minor, transition to the D, back to the beginning, E minor, to the G, and now back to the C, down to the A minor, to the D, to the E minor. And that's it. You can do this, man. I know it's tough, and I know your fingers get sort of callousy and sore, and that's exactly what we want. So have fun with it, and we will see you next Thursday. See ya.